Hi, Tadea. How are you?
Hi, Julia. I'm doing really well. How are you?
Fine. I haven't seen you for ages.
I know it's been a really long time, but it's great to connect over internet with you and with all the rest who will be watching us.
Do you know it's going to be Pax Lodge's 30th birthday soon?
I know, I heard about that. That's a big one.
Yeah, and I want your help to teach about royalty. I'm going to start screen sharing.
All right.
Do you know what? I've had to learn lots of new skills. Oh dear. I know what's happened. It's gone to the end. Let's start.
We have to start in the beginning.
I know.
Hey.
So, 30 pearls. So we've got a lovely event badge. And of course, the Queen, she wears some wonderful crowns, doesn't she, and jewelry. And she wears a lot of pearls, doesn't she?
She does. And also like different like diamonds and stuff. But pearls, yeah, pearls are really a thing.
Yeah. So do you know what? It's not just about the Queen Elizabeth II of England. Pax Lodge has had some royal visitors. Have you ever met Her Royal Highness Princess Benedicta of Denmark?
I haven't met her, but she has been to Pax Lodge several times.
She actually came to the opening of Pax Lodge. She opened it for us in 1991. And if you go there, you can see these beautiful cherry trees that she planted. They were gifts from the Girl Scouts of Japan.
Yeah, I know. And those that cherry tree, I think there are a few. It's not only one.
I think there's 5.
5. Oh, I never noticed 5 of them. Or maybe I was just like overwhelmed with all the flowers because like in springtime, which probably will be soon, they bloom in this like light pink, white pink, dark pink colors. And the whole tree is like one big flower. It's beautiful.
It is. Do you know what? She's the patron to the Olive Baden Powell Society. And she helps with the supporters raise money for WAGs, the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. And Pax Lodge is one of the world centres that those members can go to. I've been very lucky to meet her with Marlene, who's the Friends of Pax Lodge chair for the USA. Do you know what? We've had another royal visitor as well, Her Majesty the Queen of Malaysia.
I know. I met her. It was during the time when I worked at Pax Lodge. And I remember it was a Tuesday. It was actually a Shrove Tuesday, so Pancake Day.
Oh.
Yes, and we organized for everybody working for WAGs in the main office, in the headquarters. We organized a Shrove Tuesday, so a Pancake Day lunch. So we made quite a few pancakes in advance so that during lunchtime, all the staff members could come together and we would just, each of us would fill their own pancake with whatever they liked. So with like strawberries and chocolate and bananas or a lemon and sugar. And all of a sudden there was this lady standing next to us and she was like, oh, I want some pancakes as well. And she didn't look like a princess or now the queen. But she was, and it was the day when she was visiting the headquarters of WAGs, so the World Bureau. And I remember her, she was wearing a hoodie. So she was not dressed like a princess. She was wearing a hoodie and it said, I'm a rebel in the front. So that was kind of like, she's very down to earth and very, very chilled, I would say.
Yeah. David, who's also a friend, and myself were fortunate with several of the volunteers to meet her a couple of Decembers ago. Again, the World Bureau had invited her to a session and she was telling us how they'd stopped child marriages in some of the states in Malaysia. And then we're also talking about some of the latest initiatives that you can do.
That's brilliant.
So, Pax Lodge, for its birthday, we've got a challenge pack. So, do you want to get on the bus with me? We're going to do the 4th window today.
I'd love to.
I've been doing other windows with other friends because Pearl spells P is for peace, E for environment, A for art, R for royalty, which we're doing, and then L, London locations. So let's go look at the fourth window. Let's get on that Pax Lodge bus.
Yeah, let's explore.
Do you know quite a few of the members of the royal family, the current royal family, have been involved in girl guiding in the UK? Here, there's some, go on.
No, I heard about it. I've never seen it kind of like so nicely on the screen as you have it now. So I'm really interested.
Yeah. So our current queen, Queen Elizabeth II, she was a girl guide and she was also a ranger. Next to her is her sister, Princess Margaret. Then the daughter of the Queen, Princess Anne, she was a brownie. And if you're a Queen's Guide, you can work for your Queen's Guide Award. And guess what? In the 1970s, I actually became a Queen's Guide. And this is me with my friend Sian. And we got presented with a certificate from the palace. And I've got a very old Queen's Guide badge. But it's not like that these days. It's a lovely silver badge, and you actually presented it by Sophie, Countess of Wessex, and she's married to the Queen's son, Prince Edward. And you can see there that her daughter, Lady Louise, is actually a guide.
Yeah.
And
yeah, she's wearing like a proper guide uniform. That's really awesome.
Yeah. And then you've got Kate Middleton, who married Prince William, and that's her as a brownie, but she does quite a bit of work, volunteering work with the Scouts now.
But I didn't know that she was a brownie when she was young.
Yes. So anyone can actually become a member of Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting.
Absolutely.
Now, our Queen, she became Queen in 1952. Do you know, this year she's going to be 95.
That's a lot.
Yeah. She came to Westminster Abbey in a beautiful golden coach, and she normally lives at Buckingham Palace. Have you ever been to Buckingham Palace?
I was there a lot of times, but outside, watching changing of the guards. But I think we are talking about this a little bit later, aren't we?
I think so as well. But you've got that big long walk down Pall Mall, and then you all go and meet in this square down the bottom. Then you can do lots of things at Buckingham Palace. You can't go inside unless you're specially invited, unless it's inside the gates sometimes to watch changing of the guard, can you?
Yes. So I believe if you're like member of Girl Guiding, you can get a special invitation. So you kind of go behind the fence and you stand like really close to the Buckingham Palace, and you see the guards walking just past you. And I did that once with some of the Pax Lodge volunteers, and it was an awesome experience. And I have to admit, Julia, I even stole some of the pebbles from the ground.
Do you know what? I've done that as well. I took some Girl Scouts from Czechoslovakia when it was Czechoslovakia, and we did that as well. But do you know what? You have to keep very silent, and you've got to dress really smartly and do what you're told and stand there properly.
Yes, they have quite strict rules.
Yeah. In the summer, you can go into the staterooms. I loved it going to see the banqueting hall when that was opened. And I also took some American Girl Scouts of the USA, and we went to the Queen's Gallery and had a look at some of the art. Yeah. I think you've been to the Royal Mews, haven't you?
I have. Quite recently, actually. I mean, recently, last year, when things opened for a while, I went and just wanted to see the stables and all the cars and different vehicles and carriages.
And the horses.
And horses, yes, and really to understand how it is. And I learned something like really, really interesting.
Go on.
And so I learned that there are 8 royal chauffeurs.
That's the
but
drivers.
The drivers, yeah, so those who can drive the royal cars. But only the head chauffeur and the 2 deputy heads can drive the monarch. So new chauffeurs are trained in a garage for a year before they can actually start driving. And this training includes learning first aid, basic mechanics, and also they are completing a police response course. And there is always a chauffeur on duty, including weekends, to cover any out-of-hour assignments. So in case if the Queen wants to go for, I don't know, a midnight drive, there always have to be someone who can drive her around.
Did you know if you watch the guards, you have to count their buttons and see how they're made up? Sometimes they're in pairs or threes, and that tells you which regiment they belong to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you know what? They've got a shop. The Queen loves corgis, and guess what I bought? I brought a Buckingham Palace corgi.
Oh, that's so adorable.
Do you know, we were saying earlier about the crown jewels, all the jewels that the Queen and Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, wears, and all the other princesses and that. You can go and see them. Did you know that?
I know, yeah, I did know that. And they're pretty impressive. It's like all in gold and it shines and it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can see them at the Tower of London. I've also been there, not just during the day, at night, and you can go to the ceremonial of the keys, and there's yeomen of the guards there. They look after it, and they lock up the doors so that you don't steal any of the jewels. What else can you see at the tower?
You can see the ravens. And one of the tasks that the tower yeomans have is to take care of the ravens as well. And I watched a webinar the other day about Raven Master, who told us that ravens like to eat mice, chickens, rabbits, and biscuits soaked in blood. And they sometimes, yeah, I know, but sometimes they also enjoy just hard-boiled eggs.
Oh.
And there are 8 ravens. I'm sorry, yeah?
We used to eat boiled eggs at breakfast at Pax Lodge. Can you remember them?
I can, yes, boiled eggs. You see, we could easily host ravens as well. We could feed them boiled eggs.
Yeah. What else were you saying?
So there are supposed to be 8 ravens at the tower at any time. Well, 6 ravens, but they have 8, so 2 are kind of a reserve. Because there's a legend that says, if the ravens leave the tower, the kingdom will fall.
Yeah, I heard
that's why they always have ravens in the tower.
Yeah, and I think they've all got names as well, but I don't know what they're called.
The ravens?
Yeah, I heard.
Well, I think they have different names, and they can be named by characters from different books, or like historical personalities. So very random selection of names.
Anyway, one of the challenges you can do in the Pax Lodge Challenge Pack is to have a go at making your own crown. I think you've had a go at that, haven't you?
Oh, I did. So it's a very simple crown, very simple to make. And that's how it looks.
So what you're going to do, you're going to send a video to Liz, and she's going to put it online for people. And it's made out of folding paper, isn't it?
So it's very simple. You can take, all you need is papers like this. So kind of like that, kind of like notepad, you know, the one that you would, in the past, you would usually have next to your phone. So you can have it like in any color you want. Oh, something like that, yes. you can have it in any color. I have mine crowned in 2 colors, so in white and kind of like green. Oh, like this.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do is fold it in this kind of like almost like a boat shape. And how to fold it will be very nicely shown in the video that we will include. And then you just kind of like build it together.
And make it into a circle.
Yeah, until you get like, you have enough for the size of your head. And you have a crown.
Oh, that's wonderful. You could also make them out of kitchen foil, couldn't you?
You could, yeah, you could use any kind of material. Yeah. I like this process because it had no scissors, no glue, you know, nothing. It literally just kind of like papers and folding. That's all you need.
Thank you for sharing that today. Right, one of my favorite things, and do you know what is also a favorite thing of Queen Victoria, and I'm sure it's a favorite thing of our Queen, is afternoon tea. And it goes back to 1840. Can you remember having afternoon tea at Pat's Lodge?
Oh yes, we would set up a table with little cups and plates, and then with different kind of like oh, you can even see it on one of your pictures. Yeah. There in the corner. So then we would invite all our guests and we would sit down, we would tell them a bit about the history of the afternoon tea, and then we would just enjoy a cup of tea and a scone. Is it a scone or a scone, Julia?
I call it a scone, but I know quite a few people call it a scone. I don't know what the proper way is, really. Do you know what? It was the afternoon tea was created by, well, it was first started by Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford. And she was starting to feel a little bit peckish in the afternoon, but she also wanted to socialise with ladies of the time. But she didn't want to invite them to her house for a big fancy dinner. So she came up with this afternoon tea with sandwiches. Do you know what? They cut off the crusts. They're all like little fingers, cakes and scones or scones. And when you're out and about in London, you can get afternoon tea in quite a few places. Do you know what? Have you ever been to the Ritz?
No, I haven't, but I really want to go.
That's very posh. And I think if you're a gentleman there, you've got to make sure you wear a tie. But one of the latest things, you can do afternoon tea on a bus. I think that would be really fun going around London.
Oh, it would, yeah.
Anyway, Catherine, another of our friends, is going to put on a video on the birthday weekend, and she's going to show you how to make scones or scones.
One question, looking at this lovely picture of scones, do you put cream first and then jam, or would you put jam first and cream on top?
I actually prefer putting jam first and then cream. But again, I don't think it really matters. It's something to do with the counties of Devon and Cornwall. But I can never remember which way round. They do a lot of cream teas.
Yeah, we did. Oh.
Do you know what? You can make other types of cakes. The Victoria sponge, that was actually named after Queen Victoria.
Was it? Oh, it does make sense now. Victoria sponge, Queen Victoria. But I never thought that's connected.
And there's a very old-fashioned cake called Maid of Honour tarts, and they're to do with King Henry VIII. And they're sort of an almond marzipan frangipan thing, but you don't see them very often. Now, a princess that lots of us knew about was Princess Diana, and she loved children. She used to work with children before she married Prince Charles. Anyway, in her memory, after she died, they created a playground, the Diana Memorial Playground in Kensington Gardens, near where she used to live. And it's all based around Peter Pan. Have you ever been to a pantomime about Peter Pan?
Sorry, if I've ever been.
To a pantomime about Peter Pan?
No, not really.
No. Have you read any Peter Pan books by J.M. Barrie?
No, but I watched few movies and a famous cartoon, kind of like animated movie, the classic one.
That's the story.
So I know the story, and I must admit I haven't been to Kensington Gardens yet, but I will put it on my list for as soon as we are allowed to go out again.
Yeah, you can actually see a statue of Peter Pan there. That statue is one of Marlene's favourites. She loves to go and see that when she comes over from the States. And also when you go to Hyde Park, there's the Diana Memorial Fountain. It's a big circular fountain and it's all ripply, and in the summer it's really lovely because you can dangle your feet in it.
To refresh and to cool down a bit.
Yeah, it would have been lovely last year to have been able to go. I'm looking forward to be having to go when Pat's Lodge opens and I can come down to London. Do you know, one of the challenges is to design and play an outdoor game for a young child. What sort of things you could use to do that, do you think, Tadea?
You could, well, maybe not a game, but kind of like an outdoor challenge. I remember when I was young, my mom would take me out into the nature, into a park or into a forest, and we would be collecting different things. So from leaves, plants, flowers, different seeds or like fruits that we could find. And then we would bring all that home and would put up an exhibition titled, "What have we found in spring forest?" or "What have we found in our autumn walk, during our autumn walk?" And then, of course, I would invite all the neighbors and grandparents to come and visit my exhibition. And it was a very nice way also to learn about nature, do something fun. So that could be one of the games.
You could also collect things and maybe make it into a bird, a chicken or a rabbit or something.
Yeah, or something.
Or maybe you could get some balls and sticks and some containers, or, you know, you could make a little obstacle course or something.
Yeah, you could.
You can make anything you want.
Anything. Or you could, tie your eyes, put a blindfold over your eyes so you don't see anything, and then ask a friend to pick few items from outdoors, and just by touching it, trying to guess what it is. Is it a cone? Is it a stone? Or maybe it's like, just leaf. What kind of leaf? Which tree does it belong to?
Brilliant ideas. Unfortunately, the Queen at the moment, because of the pandemic, is not living at Buckingham Palace. She's actually living at Windsor Castle. So the royal standard is flying on top of the castle. Do you know, you can see lots of different things there. There's the George's Chapel, and there's the staterooms, and there's all these lovely gardens and parklands you can wander around. And there's also Queen Mary's doll's house. Have you ever seen that?
I have. A few years ago, I visited Windsor and I loved it. It was beautiful. And this dollhouse, it's every possible detail is in this little house, from every like piece of furniture to like little dolls, like little people in it living. So it's really and I remember reading about it, and this dollhouse was actually made for the future queen, also kind of like it was to learn about life and how it is, how like everything works.
Yeah, I gave you a challenge, didn't I, last week, to try and create a room fit for a queen. I sent it to you and another friend, Christina, who lives in the same apartment as you. She's a friend and she's from Spain. What did you come up with then?
Oh, Julia, this challenge, we sat down with Christina and we were thinking, and we were, trying to come up with like what, how. And then we thought, all right, let's use what we have around us. And maybe it's not so much of a scrap material, but it's the things that we can find in our house. So what should be there in a room? You need a bed, right? So we took a empty tea box, to use as a bed. You see, it even has like
Yeah.
a bed thing, for
Oh, bedstead. Yeah.
yeah. Then we thought every bed needs a pillow. So we just used a little tissue.
Ah, very clever.
And of course, now my pillow doesn't want to stand. I'm gonna tear it in half. So a little pillow. Then every bed needs a blanket. So we used our beeswax.
Oh, that you use for your sandwiches.
That we use for our sandwiches. So that is our blanket. So now we have a bed and a blanket. What else do we need? You need a bedside table. Very convenient with a current situation. We used our hand sanitizer. So that would be a bedside table, something where you can put a book if you read. Then you need a table because, if you are royal, you have your royal affairs to attend. You need a table to write letters. So what we could find was a box of Tic Tacs, and kind of like put it next to a bed to have a table and an empty container, food container to use as a chair. And of course, we believe that every royal has a pet, just as our queen, so just as the queen has her corgis, we decided that we would have a little pet rabbit.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you for sharing that today. I'm sure everyone will have fun trying to create a room fit for a king or a queen.
Just look into your cupboards and drawers under the bed if you have to, and I'm sure you'll find enough materials to create your room.
Another royal place is Hampton Court. I love going down there on the boat. It takes a few hours depending on the tide. I remember once it took me 4 hours from the city. You can get there a lot quicker on the train. We went there in 2019 with the Global Friendship Session. Have you been there?
I visited once quite a while ago. And obviously I was overwhelmed by all the chimneys you can see and how grand it is. It's really beautiful, not only on the outside, but also on the inside.
I've taken guides there and they've got reenactments. You can get all, dressed up in the old costumes and you can play real tennis there in some of the courts.
Oh, wow.
And do you know what? You can also go round a maze.
I know, and I never went in because I'm terrified I'd get lost and I would never find a way out.
We've been to another maze, haven't we, Tadea?
We went there together. It was in Crystal Palace Park, wasn't it?
Yeah. You didn't get lost there.
No, we didn't. But it was because I was there with friends and you guys helped me to get out.
One of the challenges is to design your own maze. Perhaps getting do something with the changing of the guards. Get one of the guards to find his way through the maze to get to the front door of Buckingham Palace. Or what about the Queen's coronation coach trying to get to Westminster Abbey? You could do all sorts of things. Another interesting thing at Hampton Court is Olive Baden Powell, the wife of our founder, Lord Baden Powell. She used to live in one of the Grace and Favour apartments.
Yes, she did.
Do you know what? If we go to the old medieval Tudor, it's the Tudor kitchen. She used to live above there, and down below, she used to they made an annex, and you used to make cups of tea on the big range. And there's a big fireplace there. I think you can tell me something about the fireplace, can't you?
Yep. I remember from my visit there that actually that fireplace that you are mentioning, it is the largest surviving 16th century kitchen in the world. So not the fireplace, but the whole kitchen is the largest surviving 16th century kitchen in the world. And about the fireplace, they still cook in it. So they have somebody there who would roast whatever they're roasting on that day. And then when that's all done and cooked, that would serve as lunch for all the people who work in Hampton Court. So they're kind of like making their own lunch, which is also nice to see for the visitors to see how it is done.
Yeah. And do you know what? Also in the big fireplace, when it used to be the annex of Lady Baden Powell, that's where she used to have her bath. She used to wash in there.
Now, funny thing that you mentioned bath. Fun fact about Hampton Court is that it had a toilet area that could seat 30 people at the same time. So that was pretty crowded toilet.
It was. When I was in the Czech Republic camping, we had a 6-seater toilet when we were out camping and a traffic light system.
Maybe they had something like that in Hampton Court as well.
Henry VIII used to spend quite a bit of time at Hampton Court. He used to love dancing and eating. He probably had meals cooked in that range.
Yep, probably.
You know, in England, the children at school, they learn a little rhyme because he had 6 wives. Do you know the little rhyme?
I don't, and I'm always struggling to remember who were all the wives and.
Oh, I know. There was 3 called Catherine. The first was Catherine of Aragon, and she was divorced by him. And then you had Anne Boleyn. She was beheaded at the Tower. Then Jane Seymour, she gave him a son. She was his favourite, but unfortunately she died. And then there was Anna Cleves. He divorced her. And then the second Catherine, she was very young. Unfortunately, she was beheaded. And then Catherine Parr, she actually survived. So we got a little poem: divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. There's lots of things you can learn about Henry VIII. There's books, and you can go online, and even you can see plays based about him. And do you know what? The music Greensleeves is actually attributed to him.
I didn't know he was composing music.
Yeah, I think it goes. Green sleeves, something like that. I can't remember the words. But
wow, bravo!
No, it's good. They used to do a lot of these dancing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So perhaps you can go and find some facts about him, or maybe you can find a book or a film and learn a little bit more about him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone wears clothes, and the clothes have changed over the years, especially royal fashion. Queen Elizabeth I, she used to wear this big white ruff, and she used to make her face white. But the fashion these days is a lot better, isn't it?
It is. No more white powder, which, by the way, was very, very poisonous at that time. So it was not just like a white, harmless powder as we might know it today, but it was actually, it contained a lot of lead,
Yeah.
lead, and it was, and that is very poisonous. So they also wore a lot of like wigs because of the lead. Their hair fell out. So very likely they were bald. So that's where the wigs came in.
And I think there used to be some very tight corsets in that, and they used to lace them up in days gone by.
Be straight, but hardly to breathe.
Yeah. The fashion today is a lot better. That, you know, you can see some, you know, the Queen and that in her mac and her wellies when she goes out walking, or if they're going out horse riding. But then they do get dressed up for formal occasions, and you can go and see some exhibitions, can't you, on royal fashion? You can go to the Victoria or the Albert Museum, or sometimes they have exhibitions at Kensington Palace.
Mhm.
So one of the challenges is to find out how royal fashion has changed. You can do that in all sorts of ways. Perhaps you can make a dress, some dresses for your dolls or something, or you could just draw different types of dresses.
Or you can do a research how maybe the colors of the dresses changed or the clothes. I mean, we can also you could also look at different men's fashion, not only women's fashion. But yeah, so maybe in some period they were wearing more of a red color, and maybe in some period they were wearing more of a, I don't know, green color.
Yeah, they might have been wearing sort of these big baggy trousers that finished at the knees and big long waistcoats. Then they might then go into suits and top hats and things like that.
Yep.
It's really fascinating.
It is.
I think it's coming near the end of our session. And normally when we finish a session like this about royalty, we always sing the national anthem. So as she's my queen, I'm going to sing the royal national anthem then. Long God save our gracious queen, long live our noble queen, God save the queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us, God save the Queen. There are other verses, but we normally just sing the first verse. And you know what? When we finish our sessions, we always give each other a royal wave. So I'm going to have a cup of tea, and I've managed to get some biscuits in my Buckingham Palace tin. So I'm going to have some biscuits as well.
Well, and I will open this bed from my room fit for a queen or a king. And guess what? It's not totally empty. So there's still some tea in it. And I'm going to have a cup of tea.
Okay. Do you know what? There's also, Catherine is doing some virtual sessions about footsteps of the founders. I think it includes things about Hampton Court and other places about London. So you might want to watch that. Anyway,
I definitely will.
So shall we wave goodbye like the Queen then? See ya. Thank you very much, Mateo.
Bye-bye.